Welcome all. We're waiting a few moments as folks join us in for this exciting conversation. For those that don't know me, my name is Jennifer Lee Rambaros. I am an African-American brown-skinned woman wearing a bun in her hair. I also have a white shirt on with a brown and white striped sweater. I join you as project coordinator at the Community Living Equity Center. Many of you know that we recently hosted a screening of Fire Through Dry Grass, which depicts the experiences of Black and Brown disabled artists who document their lives during lockdown during COVID, using both poetry and art to underscore not only the dangers, but also the imprisonment that they felt. A special thank you to Open Doors and the Reality Poets for courageously sharing your raw and heartfelt reactions to your experiences through the documentary Fire Through Dry Grass. The Community Living Equity Center, in partnership with the Community Living Policy Center, recently offered a virtual screening of the documentary. Today, we are so excited to have both the Reality Poets and our LE experts here with us today to help share and uplift their perspectives. During the event today, the Reality Poets and LE experts will not only share their experiences of living in a nursing home, they'll also share their recommendations and will offer a call to action. We are thrilled that so many of you are joining us for this interactive discussion. Next slide, please. In order for all attendees to enjoy the content of today's webinar, we would like to briefly outline some accessibility features. By clicking the interpretation icon, you will be able to access live ASL interpretation. And by clicking the CC icon, you can enable closed captioning, both located within the meeting toolbar below. The CLEC and CLPC receive support from the National Institute on Disability, Independent Living, and Rehabilitation Research, also known as NADLR. Please recognize that the content of this webinar do not represent the policy of NADLR, ACL, or HHS, but the opinions shared within today's webinar and interactive discussion are the perspectives of our distinguished panelists and do not reflect the opinions of our funders. We think it's important to acclimate folks to what is our work within the CLEC. Within the Community Living Equity Center, we address gaps in knowledge about inequities in community living and participation experiences and outcomes faced by disabled people of color to develop both interventions, leverage existing data, develop new policy and system change initiatives, and also to promote dissemination of findings to diversified stakeholders. Within the CLEC, we believe disabled people of color are experts at what they need. We are so proud to be partnering with the CLPC, the Community Living Policy Center, as well for this event. CLPC works to improve policies and practices that keep people with disabilities in the community, and they conduct research to help address community-based programs for people with disabilities within the United States. Next slide, please. So now to the exciting part. I am so excited to introduce this amazing group of individuals. First, we have TJ Gordon Jr., a lived experience expert for the Community Living Equity Center and a research associate for the Institute on Disability and Human Development at the University of Illinois, Chicago. TJ also utilizes his passion for self-advocacy, racial equity, culture, and autism acceptance to create integrated webinars. We are so excited for TJ to be moderating this conversation. And joining TJ today, we have a combination of both LE experts, lived experience experts, who help to support our nursing home transition study, and the Reality Poets. Joining TJ is Francine, one of Kohler's Residence Council president, Elle, a proud member of Open Doors Reality Poets, and an artist committed to disability justice, community building, and gun violence prevention. Tyree Brown, a lived experience expert within the CLEC, and Tyree is also a Christian and a visual artist currently living in Maryland. Teresa Williams joined Open Doors in December of 2021 and grew up in Ghana. She's become an advocate for herself as well as her friends. And also Shannon Nelson. She was the first woman to join Open Doors in the Reality Poets, and she's a quadriplegic for 7 years and identified as a wheelchair warrior, a disability rights advocate, and a social justice advocate and animal lover. We're excited to have all of them join us for this event. I pass the floor to you, TJ.
Thank you for the awesome introductions, Jen. Hi, everyone. This is TJ Gordon speaking. He, his, him pronouns. And for those who listening, my pronouns, my description are the following. I describe myself as an African American, king size male, wearing glasses. I have short locks, wearing headphones, a black cardigan, gray sweatpants, and a purple shirt that says Speak Up and Speak Out Summit 20. It is 2022. Sorry. And it's a pleasure to be here and to for the panelists to save you all on time and also to give you all a chance to also open the floor to the audience. I will limit the questions to 5 questions. And while we will talk about the tenets of the documentary as well as the importance of the movement to community living and also to challenge the horrible conditions in congregate settings and nursing homes, I really was amazed by like the artistry of the documentary. And so for the reality poets, I have this particular question to ask. In the beginning, you all referred to Marvel superheroes who assume other identities to help their communities. And I also observed how your origin stories mirror that of those superheroes, which it seems that you have stumbled upon your artistry. Was some of your artistic talents and advocacy already there before you became disabled? And how did it feel discovering your powers and talents, especially through Open Doors?
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. My name is L. I'm part of Open Doors, reality poet. I'm a African American male, light skinned, bald head with a beard. My pronouns is he and him, and I also have a white T-shirt with a blue background. How you doing, TJ and everybody? I would like to get to that. Most of the artistry and how it came about. In the beginning, originally, the how Open Doors was more so we was more focused on the social structure as far as going out to the community, speaking to the youth about gun violence and how we've been affected by it, and to be able to help see if it can make a difference and also help change lives. And by actually expressing that, we also at a time how we mostly was built on we was built with the art as far as poetry workshop as well as the designs that we was also doing. Jay, which is also part of Open Doors, he's not here currently, did a lot with the manipulation when it came to on the film side, as well as Guillermo, as well as my partner Val. That's a part of the design team. Like he does a lot of manipulation and like filtering and stuff with the photos and photography. Guillermo helped with the the illustration with the drawing. But the main thing with the superheroes, I'm gonna tell you that was like a J thing. Like he had, like a vision to be like, yo, I wanna make us look like yo, we superheroes, like we really trying to save the world. And it's true though, because it's like, we trying to make a difference and we wanna show it's a better world out here and it could be that. But that's what we fighting for change and for fighting for care mostly.
For certain. For certain. And I could also understand also it's like as artists, it's all about using the powers for good and also sometimes creating another entity to do it to where you are more fearless. So I understand completely. Anybody else want to chime in on the superhero theme? It
Hi, my name is Shannon Nelson. I'm a reality reporter with Open Doors. And I was just saying, when I joined at first, it was like before I joined, I really didn't have a voice. I tried, writing and stuff like that to, letters to governors and stuff like that. But it just seems more powerful when you're with a group than just one person. So it's helped a lot with, getting the word out, being in a group.
certainly. I'll also like to, because I think I still have 2 minutes for this particular question, so I'll also open this to all the panelists also. For disabled activists or people out there who want to use their artistic talents to speak up and speak out, what advice do you have to give them when finding their creative niche and using their talents for advocacy?
I mean, I'm gonna just say one thing real quick. The advice I would give them most of all is from learning from the experience of what my partner in the design team what I can do is that don't feel no doubt. You know, is I know we all going through some kind of challenges and stuff that we trying to overcome, but you can be able to adapt and still be able to do your artwork. My friend, he does all his artwork with using his mouth and having a pen in his hand to the cell phone or to the tablet. So that explains a lot. Like, and there's a lot of people out here with many disabilities that are doing artwork with their feet, their hands, their teeth, their mouth. So just don't feel doubtful and just keep on trying. You're gonna get there for sure. And I also just wanted to say one more thing. We also use a lot of apps or whatever to manipulate the art, but the art is our way of being therapeutic as well as for us as well as for the community.
That for sure.
Y- Yeah, I really like that, what you said. And even your first comment, this is Tyree Brown. Currently speaking, I am a Black woman, giving a description of myself with a Black turtleneck, a Black beret, and I have Black locks. Just to answer your question, TJ, and thank you for giving those very insightful questions. Um, some advice I would give, even just the previous question where you asked the reality poets, how did their advocacy start? Did it start? Did you notice some before your injury or before you became in the nursing home? And I would say that for me, I had no type of advocacy prior to my injury. I didn't know that that was a such thing. I didn't know that you can chant for something that you believed in. Um, but I mean, because I grew up Christian, it was something that I genuinely grew up with, just like knowing who God is and spreading the word of God. But I never really took on that role. So it took age and knowing who I am as a person with a disability to just kind of stand up for who I am, what I believe in spiritually, or whether it's my disability, knowing that there are more people like me. And before my injury, I had really had no idea that there needs to be a fight, even though I have a brother who, it's like my stepbrother who is paraplegic, which means he uses a wheelchair and is paralyzed from the waist down. I just saw him as my brother. I didn't think he struggled with anything because he had multiple cars. He would buy us things and he would say, hey, grab me a drink and we'd go get it. And I just thought he was fine, but he never really voiced what his struggles were. But once I became quadriplegic myself, I realized that everything is not fine and that there are other people living in this situation that either are ashamed to say that they're struggling or either they're pretending to be just fine, like my brother was. Um, but I now know that to answer your current question, how do we advocate for ourselves and what advice would I share is to know who you are. And like Elle said, don't let the disability stop you, even if you have to draw with your using a stylus, putting it on your teeth, or it's really different ways to adapt. Someone told me long ago that the goal can remain, but the journey to it obviously has changed, but you still have that main goal, reach for it. Know that the journey may be different, but you can still have that outcome just as well as it was before your injury.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Yes, this is Teresa from Open Doors. I'm a Black woman wearing glasses, and a white shirt, white, brown, yellow, and green shirt. And what I like to say is that sometimes you don't know how to, advocate for yourself, but what you can do is find organizations. There are so many disability organizations out there that you can really join, and that can help you, give you the voice to advocate for yourself. And sometimes you're not necessarily trying to be the person to speak for everyone, but in the need for you to advocate for yourself, you end up advocating for everybody. So we all have a voice.
Yes, yes. Speaking of voice, Teresa, I think it's a nice segue to the next question I want to ask everybody. And Shannon, I believe you're also mentioning the importance of art, not just a advocacy tool, but also therapy as well. And from the documentary, there's moments I saw where I saw the importance of people coming together, especially during COVID, even though there's also we seen pros and cons between how communication look in person versus how communication and community building works through Zoom and stuff, especially during the crux or the heat of the pandemic. How did teleconference apps like Zoom enable to keep the family bond together among open doors or within color in general? Do you think that Zoom can replace in-person reactions? And how important are human interactions in institutions and nursing homes? And why do places like Kohler need to not only maintain those for better mental health, but also to improve morale too?
The importance of Zoom meetings, I feel, is of a high importance, but I believe in-person meetings is much more better. You have a much more connection, you have a much more better understanding. And as much as you could feel the energy over the Zoom, you don't feel it like how you feel it, and you could, resemble it in person. Not only that, I feel like being in person, like it might even be an idea or a spark that it could come up in your head or your mind or something you might want to speak or shout while you're in person compared to having it on a Zoom meeting. And it's like, damn, I meant to say this or it went back. So, but however, though, the importance of the Zoom meeting came very handy at a time during COVID and COLA, because that was our way of sharing and getting together compared to the way we used to having our regular annual meetings in the COLA library. It just was like, all right, we're gonna have to do it over the Zoom. And we explained what was going on. Everybody shared their ideas and the experience of COLA or what was going on. Y'all need anything? Do we need anything? You write a list down. So a lot of our communication, like in the frame of it, was based on Zoom before Zoom was even Zoom, like how it realized, how recognized it was. We was using Zooms a little before here and there, gradually and we still was meeting up before, but after COVID, it became like, yo, we just have to stick to Zoom more than ever. It's like it became a member of the group of open doors, you could say too. And it was very helpful for that. And just that, the recordings, Like that was our way of like shedding and showing what was going on. Because without it, it's like it's just a blank. Like, oh no, none of that stuff never happened, and just sweep under the rug.
Yeah, that helped. It helped with the depression, like being isolated and being able to get in a group with Zoom and be able to talk and discuss different things. Yeah, it really helped, especially when, when you're isolated and locked down.
Hi, my name is Francine Benjamin. I'll just describe myself. I'm a beautiful Black woman wearing a cap and glasses. I have on a white t-shirt and green pants. Isolation, I would say, kill. And when I joined Open Doors, I was really delighted because it was a family away from my family. It was a way of connection, a way of feeling that somebody out there cares for you. And I always tell the guys, even though I feel sick, I always still try to join because before the end of the meeting, I would revive and feel better just seeing the faces. And Ellie's right. We always advocate for each other. In every meeting, we say if you need something, say something. Don't stay silent and suffer. You can call, you can text someone and say, look, I need some food today. Whatever the need is, you can always. So that family because COVID, none of us had families. We were our family. The connection was just there. I didn't like the fact that I'm talking to my family over phone, just seeing them. It wasn't enough because I had a little nephew. I used to go take care of him, and that was my joy. That was my way of getting out and doing things. But when COVID shut down, it was a sad time for me. It was really sad, and these guys really lift my spirit, and I'll be ever grateful to them because the days, as I said, when I'm down, they're there for me. So that's my 2 cents on that. The Zoom meetings, they're great. I love to interact. That's one of the things I miss mostly from my church as well. I love the interaction. I love to see people. I love hugs, you know. And but the Zoom is what we have, so we made the best of it. Poetry, I never know I could do poetry until when I told Pete, I said, Pete, I can't do no poetry. What am I going to say? And then what I did, the daily things that people would send to me, I take them and make quotes. Some I would read out just as it is, and some I would put in my own 2 cents in it, And now ask them every meeting. I have to read a quote for them. So later on in the program, I'll give you a little something. Okay, somebody else could take over. Thank you.
I just have a follow-up question with you. Before your church, are you able to go to your church while you're in Kohler right now, or do you still have to go on Zoom?
I prefer to do Zoom because I don't want the fact that when I go out there and come back, they're gonna tell me that I brought something back. So what I do, I miss the physical part of it, but I prefer to just do Zoom. To me, I even get much more because I can listen to more than one sermon. It is so, I thought it would be boring. I said, how can I sit here and just do church? It's not going to be the same, but I'm telling you, it's so rewarding now that I don't even think I want to go back to church. It is so rewarding. But as I said, I miss the physical people because I love to fellowship. I love the brethren, and I want to be there just to somebody say, how are you doing this week? What was your week like? It's beautiful. But I could leave. One thing with Kohler, they didn't hold you down. You could always go and come. So I was free to go to church for whatever duration. From I would leave here maybe 8:30 and I wouldn't come back until 4. So you were able to go out and just be free until the lockdown came.
Hello, my name is Teresa. Yeah, I've had the chance to go to church a couple of times after the pandemic, but it wasn't the same. And for some reason now I'm kind of getting used to zooming on church, watching the church service over Zoom instead of, traveling and going. So in a way, COVID has kind of changed the way we live to an extent that we can Zoom in some occasions instead of just traveling and going to the places.
For me, it's just like, I mean, it's like I said before, like right now, we ain't got no choice, and I know it's like everybody in different places. So it's like I could deal with it. But if I know we all could see each other and all could gather, I don't like to Zoom. I'd rather gather in person. That's
Amen to that one.
that's
Yeah.
that's just my thing, really.
Yeah.
Yep. And speaking of which, I'm glad that y'all bringing up the importance of just being together, whether it's Zoom, in person, hybrid, or whatever, because this is actually a great segue to another question I want to ask about improving the quality of care in general in nursing homes or even when you out in the community. What is necessary, you think, for improving the quality of care for nursing home residents to be, and to add to it, to be more specific, what services and support that needs to be either added or improved in nursing homes?
I would say number one, staffing. We need more staff. It's just not the same like before. The level of somebody coming to your room, how are you? How was your night? You miss that. A smile. A smile you can have a crappy night and someone smile at you. For me, it's a big, I don't know other people, for me, it's a big deal. I would say the older folks are the real people. They're leaving one by one. And this younger generation, God help us. God help us, because I don't know what is happening. There's too much attitude. You can't act, you're afraid. Right now on my unit, I have to pick and choose the people I ask for even supply. And it shouldn't be. I miss the laughter. I miss the joy that we used to have. I really miss it. And I wish those days, the level of courtesy, the level of empathizing with someone that is going through a rough patch. It's just not there anymore. And it's sad. It makes me sad because I love people. I love laughter. Don't care how bad a day I have, and you laugh and talk with me. Oh my, it brightens my day. And I wish we could get back to that level. We want people that care. Just to say, Miss Francine, you did not eat your food today. What's wrong? Didn't you like it? But nobody care. You leave the food. You didn't touch nothing and nobody asks. Even just that is I go for small things. No mountain of nothing. I love small things. The small things is what, it goes a long way. A smile can do it for me, as I told you, But everybody comes in and their faces as long as a horse. Why? And you're coming to take care of people. As I told him, I said nursing has to come from within. I don't want nobody going to no school for 6 months and coming here to take care of me or to take care of an older lady. The way they talk to them, I burst into tears all the time. I heard one spoke to a lady, she rang the bell. What you want? Are you kidding me? You're supposed to be professional. What you want? Really? It's appalling. And you complain, or where you get? Nowhere. I'll let somebody else talk.
I believe that we can have changes if more family get involved and, their their loved ones in the nursing home. A lot of times, families don't really advocate for the loved ones. Either they are clueless or they don't know what questions to ask. And so when families come and they don't really know what is going on, they're only going by what the institution, that is the nursing home, is telling them. And it's very frustrating to see that they don't know how to advocate. They don't ask the right questions. So if we have family involved and more residents who are alert oriented in these nursing facilities to speak up, I think we could get some changes, not just the staffing. And also, piggyback to what Ms. Benjamin was saying, I think if the staff can get, pay raise, because a lot of them are not paid well. And so when you don't pay people well, they treat the job as just a job. They don't have, because they feel as though you don't care enough to pay them well. So why should they care about the job? So I believe there is much money being given to the workers, they'll probably like the job and more people would get into this field.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. That is so true. It's the lack of pay, lack of staffing, lack of care and compassion. That's why I'm just always advocating for just these community like home and living based services, because the nursing home is a place to, a stepping place to be, but in reality, we just all need to be in the community in our own homes. Just to have that freedom and flexibility to live how you'd like, have a staff or a nurse on hand personal to you. So to change the community, to change the circumstances of the nursing home is just to change how we accept people back into the community. These programs, home and community-based service programs, just need to be more, heavily funded so that there wouldn't be just this overload of issues. People can just live how they want.
This is actually, Tyree, I appreciate the great transition to the next question, because I think you mentioned well how while it is important to have the services in place for nursing homes or psych wards or other congregate settings, it is a stepping stone, and our opening goal is to be out in the community with everybody else. For some, it's a rewarding experience. For others, it may be lots of fears. So, speaking on those joys and fears of being in the community, what are some pros and cons to community living or living outside a nursing home?
So I have a number of friends that live outside the nursing home. And what I've come to notice is that you have, people with disability that need, stuff like wheelchairs or maybe a shower tub, and the problems that I've seen with my friends is that when they're dealing with the system to fix things for them or change things for them, it's very, very hard, so people in the Black and brown communities that are not rich, I would say, tend to have a lot of problems. And I'll give an example of a friend. I have a friend, and he always had problems with his wheelchair because he said Medicaid didn't want to pay for it. So sometimes the chair will break and he cannot get the right person to fix it, or it takes too long to fix, and it makes it very hard for him to get around. So living out there dealing with your personal care attendant or having to find adequate resources out there, sometimes it's very hard.
I would
Uh,
like to say, go ahead, Sharon.
well, someone that's been living out since I left Kohler in 2020 in June, and I've been out since. And before that, I've never been in nursing homes. The longest stay that I've ever had was at Kohler for 8 months. And so all I've known is to live outside, never inside. So yeah, you have to really advocate for yourself, but there's also programs out there. Yeah, and it's not easy because like you have to go through agencies and caregivers to find the right person because it's some of these agencies are really bad. And and yeah, and like insurances don't want to give you the coverage that you need, and you got to fight for that. So, I mean, even if you're in a nursing home, you got to fight for stuff in there. If you same as coming out, you got to fight. So, I mean, there's no manual that shows you how to advocate through disability. When you get thrown into disability, like I did when I was 24, I didn't have a clue. My mother didn't have a clue, and we just had to navigate the best we could. And it's been years and years, and still I'm not even, you know, able to see everything for what it is.
The transition from nursing homes is the transition from nursing homes. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna talk it like this and tell you how it is. For me, I'm a gunshot survivor. It's not much out here. When I was my transition out of Cola, this is what it was. They tried to hook me up with something called extended home care, a, a piece of shit of insurance that couldn't barely help me with nothing much. They gave me a wheelchair that I couldn't even get in the size of my home door that was so wide. That was like 20 or 18, but it was wide. It wasn't a T like how I got now. How I got into getting a T like how I got into this. Like the level of resources out here is nothing. Like I'm shot and y'all threw me back in the same neighborhood I've been shot. What do that do to me? How's my trauma helping anybody else? How anybody healing my trauma? No. No therapy services, no services, no yo, let's help you get a home. Let's help you get a place. Um I end up getting going into a program, thankfully that was local. It was called the Access Project. Many some might have heard of it. I hope it, but it was called shout out to the Access Project. I learned a lot and that helped me a lot with healing and understanding myself because I felt alone. You know what I mean? I would go back to Cola, visit my peoples and my friends and peers and everybody there, but you feel alone coming back and you felt like, yo, I'm losing it. So going to this program called the Access Project, it was many people with disabilities and abilities there, and me understanding and learning different like abilities and disabilities and so on and so forth, like had me have a better sense of confidence for myself and clarity for myself. However, though, I'm still going through trauma. I'm still the services for the homes and finding an apartment is lax. I'm still looking for an apartment. Thank God I just recently got a voucher, but however though, it sucks because living and having a disability, you can't be able to find an apartment that is accessible. This is what I'm dealing with now. So now I gotta get extension. So these are the stresses that come with it. Let's I'm gonna sum it up real quick and wrap it up real quick right now. Thank you to ICS. Salute to ICS, Independent Care System. Those are the people that cared for me. Those are the people that cared for other people like me, that who needed a wheelchair that was slimmer and lighter to get around, who needed equipment and so on and so forth, like that was accessible. And even to now we left the ICS to go to VNS now, or they shut ICS down, but VNS feel like they could do a better job. But I'm still waiting for a shower bench. I mentioned to them like, yo, we need to make this urgent because I could cut myself. I'm at risk, like, or for sitting on the chair. Thankfully, I got a shower cushion. If not, but this is the life of a person with a disability and in the wheelchair.
And
Well,
I'll take it back.
I was just going to say a little something short. It's unfortunate that they got rid of ICS because ICS was a good program. You could go there, get your wheelchair fixed, You go there, take art, you could work there. Just, they had everything there. And I can't believe they got rid of it.
It seems like well, not seems, but it is every state very, very different. You know, I'm in Maryland, um, and I believe most of you are in New York, correct?
Yes.
I'm hearing just like it's a huge state where there's either the rich and just the underprivileged, and no one's in between. But here in Maryland, there's a mixture of of people. No one's extremely rich, but when we are underprivileged, there are programs that help, you know. And so I sit here saying everyone needs to be home, no one in the nursing home. And that's just also my ignorance to other states that don't have all of these programs.
Yes.
So that is something that for me, even as a person with a disability, to come to know and to understand. And that is why I'm so grateful that you all are here to voice the differences of quality of life that each of us share, even though, you know, like Shannon, she's quadriplegic. I am too. He's in the manual wheelchair with a tie light. I have a tie light. We have three different stories, but we share, you know, similar in our disabilities. Different states can change the lives of each of us, and that is so crazy. And that's why, you know, some things can change on a federal level, but so far it's statewide, which is good because that gives states the options that we need. We don't want to just be controlled by one federal government because that's tyranny, and we don't want that. But we just have to get better access for each states, have the funding that we need so that each of us, even though we share similarities in our disability, can have all the access, just like someone like me who's in Maryland, because I I wouldn't tell anyone to go in the nursing home. I wouldn't say that for anything. But Elle is saying that it's hard to be out in the community. Teresa is saying that too. But I don't have that. I don't have that problem. So I do want to thank you all for sharing.
Yeah.
May I ask you a question? Oh.
Accessibility is one of the biggest obstacle out there in New York City. A lot of these apartments are not built with wheelchair people in mind. So I've been to a couple of apartments, and the only reason why I was able to get through was because my wheelchair is small. But an average wheelchair cannot fit through a lot of these apartments. And some of the homes are not even wheelchair accessible. Then you got to deal with the kitchen. Then you have to deal with the shower tub and a whole host of issues that you have to deal with, you know, and the only affordable housing that is accessible to people like me are in poor communities, poor neighborhoods. So when a person who is dealing drugs and has substance abuse comes to a nursing home and trying to transition outside, they've bettered themselves, they've done the rehab, and you put them in the same environment, they're not going to change. They cannot better themselves. And you tell them this is all that is available to you. It is very, very hard. You know, so they build all these high rises. Everywhere you turn around, that's all you see. High rise, high rise. Even the stores. You have stores that are building yesterday, last week, and they don't even make a wheelchair accessible. So now if you want to go in, you have to go through the side door or ask someone else to go in and buy it for you. And that's not fair to us. You know, we part of the society too. You know, when you design these buildings, facilities, infrastructure, you have to, you know, put us in mind and not having to go through the back door or the side door. You know, so accessibility is one of the biggest obstacles for us. And then having to deal with a system that puts you on hold when they know they have to change your wheelchair. It's very, very stressful and makes it hard for us to transition to the community.
For sure, for sure. And for sake of time, this is a great discussion.
I think Shannon had a question.
Yeah, I was
ahead.
gonna ask Kylie, like, how, like in Maine, when I was in Maine, the most hours that they would cap off to me was 11 hours. And that's why I came to New York. because New York is 24-hour care. I was just wondering if Maryland, if they give 24-hour care or if they just give a maximum and then you have to fend for yourself, like I had to do in Maine.
So were they giving you 11 hours a day or just like for a week?
11 hours a day, that was it.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
here in Maryland, I mean, they would give someone 24 hours, but it has to be justified. My level of injury, I guess they saw it didn't require 24-hour care.
That's
You have
crazy.
to like you have to type hour, 15-minute increments as to what you and your aide would be doing for all that 24 hours. Um, so I did the 15-minute increment. It's called a tasks list. And for that, they gave me 10 hours a day for 5 days a week, but then 8 hours a day for Saturday. And then for Sunday, I just kind of, like you said, fend for myself. So it does for individuals with family. I just am extremely blessed that I have my mother to take care of me, because if I lived, as Elle said, he lives where he lives, I don't think his mom is taking care of him. So
Yeah,
if
I lived with my mom for 17 years, but
yeah,
she ended up getting sick. So I got thrown into a nursing home in
wow,
Maine and I escaped that nursing home because of it was just destitute. So I had like it's either stay in Maine or and be depressed or try to go
yeah,
to New York. So I just got on a train and came down to New York.
that is, and that will that you had, I really admire it for each and every one of you. I just love
Yeah,
you.
because right. Well, it's not fair. I mean, we have accidents, we have, disabilities, and we should be able to get 24-hour care throughout the whole United States, not
Mm,
just, New York. It's just,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, they do have housing in different parts because I live on Upper West Side, and it's not bad neighborhood, but I mean, they do have it. But the thing is like now we're fighting with the, immigrants that are coming up, the homeless people. It's like everybody's fighting for all this housing, and
yeah,
they just don't have it.
yeah, absolutely.
Terry, I think I like the fact that your family is helping out.
Yeah.
Before I came to the nursing home, I was living with my sister, and it was very hard for her, because I didn't have insurance, so she had to pay for a lot of things from out of pocket,
Mm,
and when she goes to work, she'll call me like 20 times a day. Did you eat? Did you take your medicine? It was very stressful, so coming to the nursing home kind of gave me a level of independence,
wow.
However, because they do not have enough resources out there, people have to depend on family. And not
Mm,
everybody have family.
yeah,
And not everybody wants to depend on family. People
absolutely.
want a level of independence, so with fewer resources, you get you end up being stuck in a nursing home,
Mm,
you know.
that's so true.
So
That's so
true, so
true.
true, so true. I am told that we only have 9 minutes left. This has been a great discussion.
Yes, yes.
Very great discussion. I wish we could have more time.
Yes.
So I will leave you all with one final question, and I'm actually gonna take part of this question from my notes, and then the other part will come from one of the Q&A. So from one of the attendees, they asked, what collaboration do you all envision to advance the nursing home lives matter bill of rights? What strategies are or are being devised to make those visions for long-term care a reality? And if you don't want to answer it, or if you want to combine the other answer as well, how can we follow your how can we follow you and your artwork? Sorry if I'm asking two different questions at once.
Well, I'll just want to answer the first one. The one about if like spreading the word about the documentary to your friends. We're trying to get it out to a buntsman to every state to have them watch it. And Al, you can What else are we trying to do? I can't read. We're
As
also
far as
writing.
no, I was gonna say as far as the nursing home, the LHLM Bill of Rights thing, we were a lot of the things in the conversations we've been having, to be truth be told, it's just like we just fed up with the I would say local or just more so the inside the building establishment type thing. So it's like more so like, yo, we need to speak with the higher ups. It's literally to that point, and it's just our fed up limit to like, nah, we gotta speak to the higher ups because the same shit that we mentioned that we wanted to stop is still going on, and things in lack of staff, a number of things, the lack of care, how things and during COVID. So it's like we wanna up it up a notch. Like that's what we really gonna have to do, and that's what we feeling to do because it's like that's the only way we're gonna have to get these answers and our problems and stuff solutions like completed, like so it could be to one hill. Like because if not, it's just too much for us to keep bearing with. And but at the same time, we also still trying to edit it to make sure everything is complete. We don't want to put no things that it is similar that already got things in it, but we definitely want to finalize it and make sure we push it out there for sure. I mean, one more thing, like Teresa mentioned earlier, as far as getting like the nurses needing more pay and stuff like that, I do believe that too. However, though, I would like to implement something like they got go to some kind of school staffing to learn about care and acceptance and shit and patience and stuff because that's the only way. Some people gonna be with the pay naturally and they're gonna be all right, but then you're gonna have them people that's, oh nah, I'm coming to just to do the job, flip these people over and throw them all over the room and get paid and get out. No, we don't want that. We want people that are compassionate, that care, that are patient, and that's truth. Like that's people persons, like real people, like and understand us more overall. Without that, it's like forget me paying you extra. We don't need that. So it's like if we could implement that and people could help to implement that in the bill or something to that state, that'd be even better. But yeah, that's to it.
What an amazing conversation. Thank you all for being so transparent, for offering you all's perspectives, and also bringing us all together in terms of community, in terms of working to improving the lives of those living within nursing facilities, and also improving the lives of those that desire to live in the community. We're thankful for the community that we built through the observation of fire through dry grass. I'd like to pass the mic to Sharia, who will be explaining our nursing home transition study. And a huge thank you to our distinguished panelists.
Wow. How can I come behind such a remarkable panelist? You guys did an amazing job. I do want to say before I share, in reference to all of the things that you all shared as to how you all are being treated in a nursing home and the um, quality of care that you all received. I think, we all over the states. I had an opportunity to sit on a committee when Governor Ehrlich was governor here in Maryland. And I had an opportunity to provide feedback as to how elderly care and patient care in the nursing facilities should be rendered. And I had to give feedback. And I believe that each and every one of you need to draft a letter and send it to your congressmen, your senators, and delegates. Send it to the governor. Let them know how you feel and how you're being treated so that you can advocate for yourselves and others that come after you so that things will get better. Know that it won't happen overnight, but if you keep fighting, you will see change. I am Sharia Young Smith, and I serve as a lived experience expert for the nursing home transitional study. And we, as LEA experts, are African Americans and disabled, and we are people of color who have either resided in a nursing home facility or we utilize home community-based services. And we, as LEA experts, along with CLEC, share a passion for the understanding barriers to community living. And as an LEA expert, we conduct interviews for the study, we educate and recruit participants to participate in this study. We hope that you would spread the word about this study and share your nursing home experience. And as you can see and hear, the website has been provided in the chat. I am also blind and visually impaired. I'm an author, I'm an entrepreneur, and I would love to find a way to keep in touch with each and every one of you and find ways to send letters to Congress, delegates, senators, the governor, so that we can better the lives of the disabled community and make things better so that we can live the lives that we want and live independently. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Wow. Can I leave us with a positive note and a poem? Do we have time for that, TJ?
Good.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, yes.
Okay, it goes like this. Today is ours, let's live it. And love is strong, let's give it. A song can help, let's sing it. And peace is there, let's bring it. The past is gone, don't rue it. Our work is here, let's do it. The world is wrong, let's right it. The battle is hard, let's fight it. The road is rough, let's clear it. The future's vast, don't fear it. Is fate asleep? Let's wake it. Because today is ours, let's take it. Thank you.
Nice, Bernie.
Wow, that's awesome. Awesome, awesome.
Thanks so much, Francine. This is Sid Pickering with the CLPC. Thank you to the panelists. Big thank you to the Fire Through Dry Grass crew. We're going to work together to put together some resources and get those distributed. And I think using some of the points from the Q&A that we didn't get to. Thank you again for everyone for joining us today. And this is such important work and to be continued.
Thank you for having
us.
us. Okay.